Welcome to our daily show where we discuss the fourth stimulus check update, daily news report, what's going on in Washington, D.C., what's going on in the United States, money, investing, and pretty much everything you need to know about, as well as the next upcoming stimulus package that is in the U.S. House of Representatives and is in the final stages of the $3.5 trillion stimulus package, which will be the largest stimulus package ever yet to date. Comparison, the third stimulus check package was only $1.9 trillion, and that had $1,400 stimulus checks for adults, $1,400 stimulus checks for children, and $1,400 stimulus checks for adults and adult dependents, or adult dependents and college student dependents who didn't even receive stimulus checks from stimulus check number one and stimulus check number two. Also, there was the $3,000 to $3,600 child tax credits for the year. Those end at the end of this year. They want to extend that in this next package. They have also said there will be an adult tax credit in this next package, as well as multiple different stimulus programs in this next package. We will be finding out more details about that soon. We'll be talking about the next stimulus package in this video, as well as what is going on in our country today. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe down below. The United States has made another drone strike, an airstrike against ISIS-K, and has hit a vehicle packed with explosives near the Kabul airport. As you can see here, the U.S. has carried out a military strike today against ISIS-K on a target near the Kabul airport, a development that comes in the final days on an intense humanitarian evacuation mission. The Sunday strike followed a warning from President Biden's national security team that an attack on the airport in Kabul, near the airport, is highly likely in the next 24 to 36 hours. Quote, U.S. military forces conducted a self-defense unmanned over-the-horizon airstrike today on a vehicle in Kabul, eliminating an imminent ISIS-K threat to Hamad Karazi International Airport, U.S. Central Command spokesperson Navy Captain Bill Urban wrote in a statement. Quote, we are confident we successfully hit the target. Significant secondary explosions from the vehicle indicated the presence of a substantial amount of explosive material in there, he added. There were no known civilian casualties following the strike. This latest strike follows a second strike after a Friday drone strike. Two high-profile ISIS-K members believed to be involved in the planned attacks against U.S. forces at the Kabul airport that said there were no civilian casualties following that strike either. The U.S. is beginning the drawdown of military personnel from the airport in Afghanistan. As you can see here, the U.S. has begun its final withdrawals, with about 2 days left to go with the August 31st deadline. The Pentagon has confirmed Saturday, quote, we have begun retrograding. The announcement comes days ahead of President Biden's self-imposed August 31st deadline to complete the withdrawal from Afghanistan. Biden has said he will not extend the deadline despite the country's rapidly deteriorating security situation. Officials didn't provide specific details on what a final departure would look like or how many troops were still left in Afghanistan, but the U.S. did send nearly 6,000 troops in Afghanistan earlier this month. And the State Department said yesterday that nearly 300 American citizens were evacuated in the last day, and that less than 350 were seeking left to leave the country as of yesterday. So there is less than 350 Americans that, as of yesterday, were still seeking to leave the country. So there looks like there's less than 350 Americans that want to leave the country as of yesterday. The agency has actively communicated with another 280 individuals who identify as Americans in Afghanistan, but have not yet said whether they intend to leave the country. Hurricane Ida has made landfall in Louisiana as a strong Category 4 storm. As you can see here on the screen, it's one of the strongest storms to hit the region since Hurricane Katrina, with winds up to 150 miles an hour. And tens of thousands of people are evacuating the area. And they say that this could cause people to be out of their homes for up to weeks or even months, depending on how bad of an area hits any person's particular home. Please let our condolences and thoughts go out and prayers go out to anybody who is affected. Please let our extended family know down below in the comments if you or any family members are affected by this storm. It's looking like it's going to be a very bad one. Senator Bernie Sanders, who is in charge of the next stimulus package, the $3.5 trillion stimulus package, says that nearly 18 million households are paying over 50% of their incomes on housing. That is absurd. Honestly, that is absurd. Imagine paying 50% of your income on housing. That's a lot. It is time for bold action. It is time for an unprecedented investment in affordable housing. Yeah. Activist Dan Price says 1 in 7 homes are now bought by Wall Street investors or by large investing institutions. 1 in 7 homes are now bought by Wall Street investors or institutions. A lot of Wall Street institutions, hedge funds, investment firms, literally buy homes by the hundreds or by the thousands nowadays, and they bundle them up into institutions, and they put them into investments, and they're sold as investments. They're sold in index funds. They're sold in mutual funds. They're sold to private individuals. They're sold as investments. So homes are actually bought by the hundreds or by the thousands or by private individuals. So homes are actually bought by investors in large amounts and small amounts now. So you can see here, he says 1 in 7 homes now, on average, are now bought by Wall Street investors. Starter home prices are rising 7 times faster than renter incomes. Yeah, this presents a problem going forward, more so than it's a problem now, but it will prevent even more of a problem going forward as this continues to rise and rise and rise. The typical renter needs 27 years to save for a 20% down payment on the median starter home. The typical renter needs to save for 27 years to save for a 20% down payment on a median starter home. That is crazy. Crazy. This big crisis is not being addressed. Wow. Now, affordable housing is something they're talking about in this next stimulus package, as well as you can see, is item number 8 on this next on this list here of stimulus items they're discussing for this stimulus package is a $15,000 to $25,000 home buyer credit. In fact, this can be done one of 2 ways. There's been several proposals done in the past of a tax credit where you would basically get it as a refund check on your tax return. The other way they can do it is actually give you it as a down payment at closing. There's actually a proposal that has been proposed that you would actually get the money up to $25,000 when you go to buy a new home. You would get the money directly at closing, and it would go directly into your down payment. So there is 2 different proposals, one for $15,000, one for $25,000. One of them is if you've bought a home within the last 3 years. And there's several different ways they could enact this. So I don't want to go too deep into the details because, again, when they actually write the bill is when the details would matter. So right now, it could be changed multiple different ways. It could be if you bought a home within the last 3 years. They also could have several different stipulations. It could be you could get money if you bought a home in the last 3 years. It could also be going forward for new home buyers. It could be for both. And you could get a tax credit if you bought a home within the last 3 years. It also could be going forward for new home buyers to provide a down payment up to $25,000. And there could be all sorts of different stipulations. It could be based on your income. Again, there could be all sorts of different things, but this is one of the things that both President Biden and a lot of members from both the Republicans and the Democrats want to do here. Possibly, I shouldn't say that Republicans want to do it for this next stimulus package because we know that Republicans aren't in favor of this next stimulus package, but there are a lot of Republicans that are in favor of this type of idea. Whether or not that's going to make it in this stimulus package or in the next stimulus package, because there is going to be probably 2 or 3 next stimulus packages after this within the next 12 months through the reconciliation process as the Democrats get more reconciliation cards on October 1st. And basically, we'll be passing more stimulus packages for the next 12 months. So this is not the next stimulus package. This is the largest stimulus package. But as you can see here, there's all sorts of ways they're going to try to put money in people's pockets through like home buyer tax credits or down payments, internet assistance, debt assistance, paid medical and family leave, adult tax credits, which is basically just a check in your pocket, whether they give it to you immediately through a stimulus check, like a fourth stimulus check, or they give it to you as a tax return check refund. Of course, we all know what the child tax credits are. Remember that those expire at the end of this year. That $250 to $300 monthly check, or the $3,000 to $3,000 that it totals for the entire year, those go away at the end of this year. Okay, those go out to like 65 million children. Um, if you're one of those people that are getting those monthly checks every single month, you really need to hope that they pass this bill and they include that. They want to extend it till 2025 and include that in there. But remember, that goes away at the end of this year unless they pass this bill and include that in this next package, um, because it ends at the end of this year. Okay. So they want to do that, but they have to pass the bill and they have to put that in there. Okay. But they have said that they want to put the extension of the child tax credits in there, as well as an adult tax credit in this next package, which will likely be for adults making under $50,000. Okay. Those are supposed to both be in this next package. Again, that's two different ways to put money in people's pockets. Okay. As well as 2 years of free community college. We just talked about the home buyer tax credits. Again, we don't exactly know each and every one of these items that are going to make it in this next package. Again, because they're crafting the bill right now. They're writing the bill right now. They have dozens and dozens of different staff members, different subcommittees that are all writing their own different portions of the bill. So they have these different subcommittees, different how else would I say that, different subcommittees, different sections of Congress that each take their own sections of the bill, and they have their own staff, their own aides that are non-elected officials or just regular people that are they work there, and they write the bill. Okay, and they have dozens of staff members that work there, and they all write the bill, and then they're all going to take their own pieces of the bill and combine them. Now, remember, the physical infrastructure bill was 2,702 pages. That's a lot of pages. Okay. I know for a fact that some of you guys read that entire bill as some light reading. I know that some of you guys were like, yeah, Jimmy, I read that for some light bedtime reading, and it was just the best reading of your life, right? Yeah. I don't think anybody read that 2,702 pages. And it's a really tough read because it's all legal jargon. It's like the worst read of your life. It's like lawyer speak. It's like terrible read. I wouldn't be surprised if this next bill is more than that. More than that. Okay. Because it's going to have Medicare expansion, hearing, dental, vision, denture coverage, hearing aid coverage, and lower the Medicare eligibility age probably to age 60. It's going to have free community college for the vast majority of Americans. All this stuff, though, is up for debate. Okay. Remember, they need 100% of the Democrats in the Senate and 99% of the Democrats in the House to agree to this. So if we get one senator who like holds their ground and says, for example, no, I don't want free college, or no, I don't agree with these Medicare benefits, or no, I don't want a forced stimulus check. I don't think that we should be giving out money like that. Okay. That's where the problem comes in, right? And that's where we're going to get some really intense fighting here between the progressives and the moderates. Okay. I want to show you this interesting article. What would a fourth $2,000 stimulus check cost taxpayers? So remember that the third stimulus check, $1,400 per person for adults, children, and adult dependents and college students, cost about $400 billion. Okay. But if they don't want to spend $400 billion, they could actually spend the same amount and give out $2,000 and kind of whittle it down a little bit. So they could send out a fourth $2,000 stimulus check and lower the income threshold. So remember that right now, stimulus checks go out to individuals making up to $75,000 to $80,000. That's the income threshold for a single filer head of household. I'm sorry, for a single filer. And if you're a single filer head of household, you can get a stimulus check up to $112,500. They could actually not send out stimulus checks to people, single filer head of household making $112,000, but increase it for people making, increase the amount, say up to $2,000 to lower income people. Okay. These are some of the things that I'm not necessarily advocating for this, but this is some of the things that I'm hearing. I'm not choosing sides here. Okay. Because again, if you're in the higher income threshold and you're really in need of a stimulus check, maybe you made decent money last year, but now you're out of a job. I'm not really going to pick and choose sides here, but I'm telling you some of the things I'm hearing right now. Okay. I'm also hearing some chatter on the street saying, well, children are already getting $3,000 to $3,600 per year if they extend these child tax credits. So they might not necessarily need to get a forced stimulus check. Okay. Now, again, I'm not necessarily advocating that children don't need a forced stimulus check, but if they are getting the $3,000 to $3,600 per year with the child tax credits, they're kind of already being taken care of. They might not necessarily need to double dip because in the third stimulus check package, they actually got the $1,400 stimulus check and they got the $3,000 to $3,600 child tax credit, those monthly checks. So, on one hand, you could say they're being taken care of with these monthly checks and they got the $1,400 stimulus check. So, because honestly, they're debating right now whether or not there's going to be a forced stimulus check in there at all. Because we have moderates like Joe Manchin and Kirsten Sinema and moderates from the House of Representatives that are basically saying they want the stimulus package to be smaller and that free money should not just be thrown around. Let's be honest. That's exactly what they're saying about the unemployment, and they're stopping unemployment bonus money. Okay. They want people to go back to work and they don't want to necessarily just throw around free money. Okay. I'm not saying this, okay, because I don't really want to choose sides too much here because I personally understand that a lot of people are hurting right now. I understand that it's not easy for everybody to go back to work. I understand that there are a lot of jobs out there right now, but a lot of jobs are low paying jobs. There's a lot of jobs that are part time jobs. Okay. So I understand that it's not a very easy decision. I also understand that over 35% of small businesses have completely gone out of business. So, your position may have been totally eliminated. You also may have been the business owner that had your business completely eliminated. So I don't really like to choose sides here, just like I don't really like to choose sides with the rent assistants and the landlords, because I understand that the landlords, um, with the Supreme Court justice, I do see how it's a Republican versus Democrat thing, but I don't really like to choose sides there because I could argue both sides. I could argue the sides for the renters who are having a hard time paying their rent, but I could also argue the side for the landlord who hasn't been getting paid their rent for 12 months and say they're a 65-year-old retired couple and they have one rental property and they haven't been getting rent for a year. So like I said, I could argue both sides here, but I really do think a forced stimulus check is necessary, but I think that the people like Bernie Sanders and AOC and Elizabeth Warren are going to have to convince some of these moderate Democrats that they need to include a forced stimulus check in addition to these other programs that are in there, like the child tax credits and the adult tax credits, that are basically going to provide money to people. Because the child tax credits are probably going to be in there, and the adult tax credits, which is basically going to be a check to people. We just don't know exactly how that is going to work. There's also going to be probably other type of programs, like I said, on that list, like internet assistance, utility assistance, maybe rent assistance. There's going to be all sorts of different programs that are probably going to put money in your pocket. Like I just said, internet assistance, utility assistance, rent assistance, SNAP assistance. There's going to be multiple different programs like that, child tax credits, adult tax credits, but we really want to get as many programs as we can to help people with a forced stimulus check in addition. So I really don't want people to panic if there's not necessarily, say, a fourth stimulus check, because there's going to be multiple different programs. That's what I really want people to understand, because I always get people saying, I don't know if there's going to be a fourth stimulus check. Even if that's the case, there's going to be all of these different programs. Remember, stimulus check packages Think about the third stimulus check. This one's going to be twice the size of that. There's going to be rent assistance. There's going to be mortgage assistance. There's going to be internet assistance. There's going to be SNAP assistance. There's going to be, I don't even know all these different programs there's going to be because they haven't wrote the bill yet. Okay. I'm really hoping there's going to be a fourth stimulus check in there. I'm really hoping there's going to be, well, we pretty much know there's going to be child tax credits in there. Hopefully, there's going to be adult tax credits. Remember, that's going to be just a check for adults. We don't know how it's going to work, but we really want there to be a tax credit for children, tax credits for adults. Remember, those are checks, and a fourth stimulus check in there in addition. Okay. Again, I'm not advocating that there is or there isn't going to be because they haven't wrote the bill yet. Okay. But I just want to say that there's going to be all these other programs in addition to whether or not there's a fourth stimulus check, yes or not. Because again, remember this package is $3.5 trillion. There's going to be all these little other programs like rent assistance and internet assistance, all these other programs that we're going to weed through and figure out how to apply for and how to get all this extra money once this package comes out. So I will keep you up to date. We'll figure out how to get all these other programs when this next stimulus package comes out. So make sure to subscribe down below. I'll keep you up to date. We really don't know all the details yet because they haven't wrote the bill. Hopefully, we're going to be finding out those details soon. I'll keep you up to date when we find out. You can click this top video here to watch my newest stimulus check video next. And this video has in it how to apply for rent assistance. You can get up to $10,000 or more of your rent paid from the federal government from the third stimulus check package. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks, guys, and I will see you in the next video, in the next video, in the next video.